Okay, hello boys and girls. Today we're working on video notes 11, which is over angle relationships. Okay, this is the part that you are going to write into your notebooks. So if you need to pause the video and get your composition notebook, then please do so right now. Okay, I just need you to go ahead and be writing this down as I'm talking about it. Okay, we're first just going to start off with some basic information that you should remember from previous years. Okay, we're going to talk about naming angles. Okay, there's a couple of different ways that you can name angles. The first way is we use three letters. So we're going to use three letters that make up the angle. And we have to name using the three letters that create the angle. And we can also do the letters forwards and backwards. So I'll show you what that means. Okay, now notice in this angle that example that I have, there's several angles making up this drawing. I have an angle here. I have an angle here. And then you should also see that the whole entire thing forms an angle as well. Okay, so I can name basically three different angles here. Okay, if I want to name the whole entire angle, then I will first put my angle symbol. That looks like this. And I would start at the end point, go to the vertex, and then go to the other end point. Because I cannot start right here and then go here and then name here. There's no line going from here to here, so that's not an angle that's being created. So you've got to follow the lines or rays that are making up those angles. So therefore, we can name this angle angle A, B, D. Or remember, it can be written backwards. It can be angle D, B, A. But notice each time A, B, D, D, B, A. The vertex is in the middle. And that should be the case when you're using three angles. The vertex should always be in the middle. Okay, so that's that angle. Okay, now let's do our pink angle. So, in the pink angle, I see angle, start at the end, A, B, C. Well, remember, we can name it backwards. So we can start at C, go to B, and then A. And that's the pink. Okay, and our last angle, which is the green one. I'm starting at one of the endpoints. I have angle C, B, D. Or I have angle D, B, C. Okay, there is a second way that we can name angles, and that is using the vertex only. Now, if I use the vertex only, then the angle has to be by itself. It cannot be more angles combined in the picture like this. It's got to just look like this, to where you only see that one letter. So in this case, all we would have to do to name this angle is just say angle F. That's it. But I couldn't go up here and say this is angle B, because guess what? That could be any of these, huh? The two inside as well as the big one. So because of all the different angles combined in that one, we have to use three letters. Okay. Now let's talk about some different types of angles that you'll see. Okay, we have complementary angles. And complementary angles are two angles whose sum is 90 degrees. And it does have to be two angles. So you can see complementary angles embedded like this, where both of them are sitting inside that 90-degree angle. Or they may be separated But as long as their sum is 90 degrees, they are complementary. And that's all it takes to be complementary. Okay, the next type of angle that we have, and if you need to pause the video to finish writing, please do so. The next type of angles that we have are supplementary angles. Excuse my highlight that came through. And supplementary angles are angles or two angles whose sum is 180 degrees. So they also may be embedded or they may be just single angles. But if you notice both cases, 70 plus 120, sorry, that should be 60, guys. 60 plus 120 is 180. And then that's 25 sitting inside there. I can make it a little bigger for you. 25 plus 155 is 180 degrees. So that's why those are supplementary angles. And if you get them confused, there's a little trick to remembering which is which. Okay, supplementary angles. If I take the beginning letter S, and I can take one line and draw through this, and it basically becomes an 8. Then I can put my 1 in front, my 0 in back. There's your 180 degrees that all came from that S. Okay, complementary, you can do the same exact thing. Complementary starts with a C. Right. So I'm going to take one line, that's my C, and I'm going to put it with that C. It looks like a 9, doesn't it? So now I can put that 0 back there, and there's your 90 degrees. So that's just a little trick to help you remember which is which. Okay. Now let's talk about our final type of angle. And again, if I'm going too fast, then just pause the video and write the information down and then start it back up again. Okay, the last type of angles that we have are vertical angles. And vertical angles are two angles formed by intersecting lines. And very important is that vertical angles are opposite of one another and they are congruent or equal in measure. So I have intersecting lines here. And then I have angles 1, 2, 3, and 4 sitting inside there. So if I were to look at angle 1 right here, remember it says vertical angles are opposite. So opposite of angle 1 is angle 3. So that means angles 1 and 3 are vertical. So that leaves us with angle 2 sitting over here, and opposite of it is angle 4. So therefore, angles 2 and 4 are vertical. So that means if I were to say the angle 1 is 110 degrees, that means angle 3 would also have to be 110 degrees. If I say angle 4 is 70 degrees, then that means angle 2 also has to be 70 degrees. Okay, the last part is just another little review section. Excuse my T right here. We're going to find the sum of the angles in a triangle. So if you remember from previous years when you did this, and definitely in the 6th grade, you should know that all triangles add up to 180 degrees, so their total sum is 180 degrees. And if we want to find a missing measure, what we can do, I didn't finish writing it, is we can create an equation. And to do this, we're going to add all 3 sides and set it equal to 180. Because each has 180 degrees. Okay, and once we have an equation, we've already done solving equations, right? So therefore, you just follow your steps for solving equations. So follow the steps for solving equations. So that means isolate the variable, use inverse operations, PEMDAS backwards. And if it wants to know the value of each angle, then you can plug in or substitute the answer for x to find the value of each angle. And that is what we'll be doing in the next video, or in the second part of the video. So therefore, we're going to be doing some examples where we're going to be using our equations to solve for missing values. Okay, again, if I have moved too fast, then just rewind, pause, whatever the video, and go back and write this down. So make sure that when you come into class tomorrow, you have all this written into your composition notebook, because it is part of your video notes 11 and it's part of your video notes grade.